I shall read this book. Um, okay, so I will read a whole page. Hold on. Um, please focus on the page. Um, there we go. Hold on. But upon the whole, the Baron is a gentleman of real intelligence, for when I have a particular esteem. I recall that when he first came to America, he could speak no English, and yet he made himself invaluable. Upon all occasions, he conducted himself to act like an experienced and brave officer. Did he not impress you at dinner, my dear girl? The truth was, the Baron had impressed me. I liked him and his companion. I even liked his dog, and most of all, I liked the salutary effect he had upon Alexander's mood. So I didn't ask about the Baron's imprudencies, and I don't know what that says. And I promised myself that instead of spreading Theodosia's gossip, I'd instead, what is it, bask in the success of our party. You enjoyed yourself tonight, I whispered, leaning back against my husband where we paused in the doorway to watch our boy sleep in his cradle. I enjoyed myself very much. Alexander's hands rested warmly upon my shoulders. You are a better hostess even than your mother. I doubted that. I didn't have Mama's perfect understanding of everything that must be done at the dinner table and the order in which it must be done. But before I could express those thoughts, my husband continued, I found a precious jewel in you. Alexander wrapped his arms around me, and then his hands drifted down to my rounding belly. Have I told you how pleased I am that you're giving me another child? I shall never tire of hearing it, I said. He turned me in his arms so that he could kiss me. He tasted of wine and exhilaration as he lifted me off my sore feet. I remembered how happy he'd been at the birth of Philip, and it filled my heart with hope for the future. That when we finally had our fill of kisses and turned down the bed, the watchman passed our window crying, past 10 o'clock, and Cranston, the fishmonger, is a vile hypocrite and enemy of freedom. The war had been won, but it had hardly brought peace. Every day the clamor of multitudes in the streets grew more menacing. While those streets were christened, help with new names. Crown Street became Liberty Street, Queen Street became Cedar, King became Pine, and coffee houses over bowls of grog at the theater or wherever workmen struggled to clear away the debris and charred remains of war. We heard that no royalist should be suffered to live amongst patriots. How, after all, could royalists think themselves deserving of forgiveness from their fellow citizens after having been the cause of 8 years of death and destruction, war and mayhem? The next day I heard a commotion outside the front window and looked out to see the usual ebb and flow of carriages, and well-dressed people on our white avenue was now choked by an ill-clad cob, all pointing and laughing at some spectacle at their center. Heedlessly, I rushed to the front stoop to catch scent of pine tar sharp in the air, and there, to my dread, I saw Cranston the fishmonger being forcibly stripped to the waist. I shouted in alarm, but the ruffians ignored me completely. as they slathered the warm tar over the former fishmonger's chest, chests, and Megan tore a pillow for the feathers with which to help humiliate him. This was followed by placement of a cowbell around his neck and a saying that read, "Looky, Tory crew, see what George King can do." Fighting back nausea and defying all reason, I took hold of my skirts and waded into the crowd. "Stop this at once!" "Get back, Mrs. Hamilton," one of the men said, daring to lay hands on me as the crack of a whip. Elicit. What does that say? A shriek of agony from its victim. "We Sons of Liberty ask you to remember that all the times your husband came so near to death at Washington side, and you'll know these traitors deserve whatever they get." Oh, how easily any man could lay claim to the title Son of Liberty, now that the war and the danger of being hanged for it had passed. "How do you know he's a traitor?" I asked, pulling away the grubby self-styled patriot. How can anyone know without giving the man a fair trial? Why, the poor tailor, Hercules Mulligan, was thought to be a traitor. Wait, yeah. Help, where am I? Hold on, I'm getting confused.